ont été reçus de citoyens qui ont contracté un prêt immobilier garanti à Rodrigue. Afin de traiter les demandes, une copie de l'acte de prêt est demandée à l'institution prêteuse respective. Après le processus de vérification, les 6 demandes ont été approuvées et les paiements effectués. Merci.
Next question, Honorable Uchit.
B565.
Mr. Speaker, sir, the Central Water Authority supplies water in 6 water supply zones across the island, and the regions of Triolet, Troubiche, Pointe-au-Piment, and Morcellement-Saint-André fall under the Water Supply Zone North, which has a total of 15,031 subscribers. These regions are serviced from Boismont Reservoir, New Plaine des Papayes Reservoir, Solitude Borehole, and a containerized filtration plant at Bassin Solitude. The daily hours of supply are 10 hours. I am informed by the Central Water Authority that the intermittency in water supply in these regions is primarily due to the following reasons. A, presence of old and defective asbestos cement or galvanized iron pipes that frequently burst, causing low water pressure or no supply, especially in elevated areas. B, inadequate water resources. C, periodic interruptions for repairs on damaged main service pipes or to facilitate new connections carried out by the CWA. D, disruptions from low service reservoir levels due to pump breakdowns, extended power outages, or decreased production from the irrigation authorities' pipeline. And E, water supply disruptions during the dry season as surface and groundwater levels drop. Mr. Speaker, sir, in my reply to PQB 1184 at our sitting of 17th October 2023, I had informed of measures being taken by the CWA to address these issues. The commissioning of 1 containerized pressure filter with a capacity of 2,500 meter cube per day at Bassin Solitude in December 2022, along with the installation of HDPE pipeline from Bassin Solitude to Triolet, has contributed to an improvement in water supply. Another containerized pressure filter with a capacity of 2,000 meter cube per day is being installed at Bassin Solitude to enhance the water supply in Triolet and Pointe-au-Piment. A 3rd containerized pressure filter is planned to be commissioned at New Plaine des Papayes Reservoir to channel additional water towards Triolet, Troubiche, and Pointe-au-Piment. Moreover, old and defective pipelines have been replaced and new dedicated pipelines have been laid to improve water supply and pressure. The laying of a dedicated HDPE 200 millimeter pipeline, approximately 3 kilometers long, from New Plaine des Papayes Reservoir to Triolet upper parts, that is Komoti and Tago Road, is near to completion. Additionally, the replacement of old and defective pipelines is ongoing in the affected regions. Specific projects include the replacement of some 1,450 meters of old pipelines in Dodo Lane and Tago Lane, Pointe-au-Piment, and some 5,220 meters in Morcellement, Saint-André. Replacement of some 2,220 meters have already been completed in areas such as Calimai Road, Flamboyant Street, and Filao Street. Mr. Speaker, sir, the CWA is also contemplating to come up with additional boreholes at Solitude and New Plaine des Papayes Reservoir to further improve the water supply. I thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Is the Honourable Minister aware that the issue of water cuts in these regions was reported in l'Express newspaper on Sunday, highlighting the dissatisfaction with the service provided by CWA, and if so, has the Ministry conducted any assessment to address these concerns?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, sir, I'm aware of the situation just mentioned by the Honourable Member. I've queried the CWA and I was told that this was due to a problem that occurred on the Irrigation Authority network, and that had caused several water cuts in that region over a period of a number of days, Mr. Speaker, sir. But this is behind us. Supply has been restored, and I understand the situation is back to normal.
Next question.
B566.
Mr. Speaker, sir, the National Skills Development Programme, NSDP, which was announced in Budget Speech 2016-2017, is implemented by the Human Resource Development Council. The main aim of this program is to train unemployed individuals to better match skills with demand of enterprises. Mr. Speaker, sir, I am informed by the HRDC that the NSDP is implemented following applications for training programs from industry associations and an enterprise or cluster of enterprises. Training programs have to be approved by either the Mauritius Qualification Authority or Higher Education Commission and delivered by training institutions duly registered with the Mauritius Qualification Authority or HEC. All training programs should also comprise a placement component during or at the end of training. Generally, training programs span between 3 and 12 months. The NSDP targets unemployed individuals having studied from primary school achievement certificate, PESAC, to a diploma level and aged between 16 and 59 years. Mr. Speaker, sir, the HRDC under this program covers the eligible training cost, and monthly stipend of 8,000 rupees is paid per trainee. Mr. Speaker, sir, I am informed that from 1st of October 2022 to 30th June 2024, there were 634 trainees under the NSDP, and since October 2022 to 30 June 2024, the HRDC has disbursed an amount of 40.5 million rupees under the NSDP, out of which 22.8 million representing stipend paid to trainees and 17.7 million representing training costs paid to training centers, which include, among others, fees for trainers, cost of training venue and training facilities, training material costs, development costs, administration, overhead, and other training-related costs.
Next question.
B567.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I am informed by the Central Electricity Board that there are 5 engines of a capacity of 30 megawatt each at the Fort George Power Station, namely 2 from manufacturer Sulzer and the other 3 from MAN. I am further informed by the Central Electricity Board that following a procurement exercise for the provision of services for 10 years periodical maintenance of alpha lubricating system on the 3 MAN engines, a contract was awarded to Hyundai Global Service Europe, BV, for an amount of USD 261,301.53 on 2nd February 2023. The scope of works comprised A. The maintenance of the alpha lubricator system for the 3 engines. B. Supply of spare parts required such as angle encoder, filters, coupling, non-return valves, solenoid valves, accumulator, and feedback sensor. C. Programming of the 3 sets of electronic cards as spare for the units. And D. Handing over of all programming devices, associated documentations, programming softwares, communication cables, list of plant set values, license certificate, and other accessories used to commission the equipment for their subsequent use. Execution of the maintenance on all 3 engines was scheduled to take place over the period 9th August to 15 September 2023. Mr. Speaker, sir, I have been informed that spare parts, except for the 3 sets of control cards which were intended for subsequent use, were delivered in several batches by Hyundai Global Service Europe BV to Fort George Power Station between 4th to 9th August 2023. As for the 3 sets of control cards, Hyundai Global Service Europe B.V had informed CB that it would in the first instance configure those that CB had procured in 2021. Subsequently, the maintenance works on the 3 engines were successfully completed on 15th September 2023 by 2 technical teams from Hyundai Global Service Europe B.V. Mr. Speaker, sir, with respect to the payment schedule, I am informed by the CB that the agreement provides for claims to be settled within 30 days after completion of service and upon submission of appropriate invoice. CB has informed that in October 2023, 2 invoices amounting to 193,801.53 USD and 67,500 USD respectively were received. Mr. Speaker, sir, I am informed that on 7th December 2023, CB settled the 2 invoices through a bank transfer of 258,944.99 USD to the supplier's bank account according to the details provided by the supplier. Mr. Speaker, sir, with a view to confirming the payment, CB transmitted copies of the outward remittance advice and SWIFT copy to the supplier on 14th December 2023. However, in April 2024, the supplier informed the CB that since March 2024, Hyundai Global Service Europe BV had been renamed as HD Hyundai Marine Solution Europe B.V, and that payment for the 2 invoices amounting to 261,301.53 USD had not been received at their end. Following exchange of correspondences regarding payment documents between 2nd of May to 21st of May 2024, HD Hyundai Marine Solution Europe B.V informed CB on 21st of May 2024 that the previous emails sent to CB were erroneous and did not belong to the email domain of the company. The Internal Audit Department of the CB was requested to carry out an investigation into the above matter on the 22nd of May 2024. Due to the seriousness and technicality of the issue, the Internal Audit Department submitted a preliminary report on 23rd June 2024. It concluded, among others, that the internal audit did not come across any element which could indicate a direct implication of CEB personnel in the phishing scam, and the most probable cause is a hacking of a Hyundai computer system. The Internal Audit Department is currently carrying out an in-depth and thorough investigation in the payment process. The matter has also been reported to the police. I thank you, Mr. Speaker. Sir.
Monsieur le ministre vient de confirmer à la Chambre, Monsieur le Président, que 12 millions de roupies, près de 13 millions de roupies, a été payé à une compagnie fantôme, fictif, scam. Est-ce que le ministre peut dire à la Chambre quand est-ce que le CEB a rapporté le cas à la police ou à la Financial Crime Commission?
No. In my reply, I said that they have reported the case to the police, and I understand that same was done last Friday.
Puisque ce paiement, on ne sait pas combien de paiements il y a, aujourd'hui on sait qu'il y a un paiement de 12 millions de roupies, puisque ce paiement a été approuvé par le Head of Finance du CEB, qui gère des milliards de roupies, et par le General Manager, est-ce que, Monsieur le ministre, compte prendre des sanctions concernant ce paiement de 13 millions de roupies qui s'est évanoui dans la nature contre le Head of Finance et le General Manager, qui les deux ont approuvé ce paiement à la hauteur de 13 millions de roupies?
Mr. Speaker, sir, I cannot take this decision. It is for the board of the CEB to take that decision. And I've said there is an ongoing inquiry. Let us have the conclusion of that inquiry. Then whatever decision has to be taken will be taken, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Next question.
B568.
Mr. Speaker, sir, with regard to part A of the question, I'm informed by the National Development Unit that a contract for the construction and upgrading of a network of drains in constituency number 20, comprising the construction of drain at VG Bissamba Lane at Montroche, construction of drain along Charles Jolivet and Chanoin Rivalan Street, construction of drain along Lady Twinning Street, Beaubassin, and reconstruction of drain at Colonel Mengo Street, Beaubassin, was awarded to J. Ducan and Son Limited on 14th April 2018 for a total amount of 5.3 million inclusive of VAT. The cost of the works at VG Bissamba Lane was estimated at 272,000 inclusive of VAT. The three projects along Charles Jolivet and Chanoin Street, Lady Twinning Street along Colonel Mengo Beaubassin were completed by the contractor. As regards the project at VG Bissamba, the contractor had mobilized on site in May 2018, and the work was scheduled to be completed 7 June 2018. However, following representations made by the inhabitants, consultation was held with the then Honorable Parliamentary Private Secretary of Constituency 20 and representative of the Municipal Council of Beaubassin-Rosil, whereby it was decided that the drainage system in the locality would be reconsidered in a holistic way. The contract for works pertaining to VG Bissamba was consequently cancelled. Mr. Speaker, sir, the services of Lux Consult as consultant under the framework contractor agreement for consultancy services was enlisted on the 7th September 2018 to study the region of VG Bissamba, taking into consideration the complaints from the inhabitants and the problems reported, namely infiltration of water from the irrigation canal into the private properties, overflowing of irrigation canal during heavy rainfall, resulting in flooding of lateral roads and private properties, accumulation of water in regions along VG Bissamba Road, and overflowing of existing absorption drain at Supramania Barrety Road at its junction with VG Bissamba. Lux Consult submitted the feasibility study report on the 10th January 2019, and same could not be finalized for implementation of work as another study was being carried out upstream of Saint-Martin Road by another consultant, namely Servan Singh Yadav and Partners Consulting Engineers Limited, under the mega project flood mitigation measures in the region of Plaisance, Rochebrune, Montroche, and La Chaumière. This project had a direct incidence on the drain work project at Verger-Bissambor. The design for the project at Verger-Bissambor had to be consequently kept on hold since Servan Singh Yadav and Partners had recommended that the proposed solution for the mega project would entail channeling part of the flow from the upper region of Montroche through Suprabanian Barati Road and downstream, hence impacting on the overflow and surface runoff of stormwater at Verger-Bissambor. Mr. Speaker, sir, I wish to inform the House that the region of Plaisance, Rochebrune, Montroche, and La Chaumière are fully built-up areas with extensive underground services and low-lying in topography with no natural water course to be used as outlet. Therefore, addressing the flooding issues in this region is very complex, challenging, and time-consuming in order to find a sustainable solution. Mr. Speaker, sir, I wish to highlight that initially, the proposed design catered for discharge of stormwater into La Ferme Reservoir through Trianon Grosse Roche Feeder Canal. However, the Water Resources Unit has on the 9th September 2021 objected to the use of the reservoir as a final discharge point. Due to its precarious state, the Water Resources Unit instead proposed that the River Belle-Île be used as a discharge point on 28 September 2023. However, on 14 February 2024, the Water Resources Unit has informed that the project for upgrading of La Ferme Reservoir has been finalized and has requested that NDU to reconsider a new alignment to cross nearer to La Ferme Reservoir to cater for the overflow from the reservoir into our drain until the discharge point at River Belle-Île. This has considerably delayed the finalization of the design for this mega project. It is only after finalization of the design of this project that consideration for the drain project at Verger-Bissambor could be reconsidered. Mr. Speaker, sir, regarding part B of the question, it is premature at this stage to confirm the completion date of the project. However, at this juncture, I'm informed that the project has a lifespan of 12 months upon appointment of a contractor. Thank you.
Comme mentionné par l'honorable ministre, en 2018, le consultant Lux Consult Limited avait mené une étude et avait soumis son rapport préliminaire afin de trouver des solutions aux problèmes d'inondation dans la région basse de Montroche. Mais par la suite, durant ces 6 années, il n'y a eu aucun développement, quoi que ce soit, et entre-temps, les habitants de Verger ont beaucoup souffert des inondations. L'honorable ministre peut-il donc déposer une copie du rapport final du consultant, et l'honorable ministre peut aussi donner l'assurance que les travaux vont débuter et que les habitants vont bientôt être soulagés des inondations.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I think it's too easy to come and say nothing has been done for 6 years. I've said, well, that we are here in a built-up area. We have challenges. Dealing with flooding issues is not dealing in an aquarium where you take the water to point A, you put it to point B. In fact, here we're trying to find a sustainable, long-term solution. In fact, as I've mentioned, there is no outlet in that part of the country. So the consultants are working, and I don't think it's also correct to come and ask for a copy of the report. We should know that this report will finally go on a tender document where we will have to have contractors to come and tender for that project. How can we make those reports public at this stage?
Next question.
Je vous remercie, Monsieur le Président. B569. Merci.
Mr. Speaker, sir, the Bejutombo Child Daycare Center, which is run by the National Children Council, was set up with a view to offering quality early child daycare to babies and toddlers in a deprived area, so that we can enable the mothers of these children the possibility to undertake gainful employment. With regard to cleaning logistics of the CDCC, I am informed that for upkeeping and regular maintenance of the yard, the following arrangements are in place. There is a nursery attendant who is responsible for the daily general cleaning of the center. There's also a handyman on the establishment of the National Children Council who is posted there twice weekly for the cleaning of the yard, and a general worker is also posted twice weekly to assist in the general cleaning of the child daycare center. Grass cutting is effected by an attendant from the National Children Council twice monthly, or as and when required, depending on the season. And acquisition has also been made for power tools and equipment such as a water pressure cleaner of high capacity, a bush cutter, and gardening tools, amongst others. Mr. Speaker, sir, furthermore, whenever the need arises, the Forestry Service is contacted for the trimming or the felling down of trees around or nearby the CDCC. I am informed that on the 5th of June this year, upon the request of the National Children Council, officers of the Special Mobile Force brought down a tree found in the premises of a pre-primary school, which is located at the rear of the child daycare center, because the roots of that tree were causing cracks in the concrete block wall which separates the pre-primary school and the CDCC. Arrangements, Mr. Speaker, sir, is also being made for trimming of another tree found in the yard of a grotto adjacent to the child daycare center. Mr. Speaker, sir, I wish to inform the House that the child daycare center is found in a building which also houses a women's center on the first floor. With a view to ensuring a clean and conducive environment at the center, regular monitoring visits are effected by the staff of the National Children Council and the licensing section of my ministry, and to date, no complaint whatsoever has been received regarding the condition of the yard, which is kept clean and tidy. The last visit effected by senior staff of my ministry was on the 4th of July this year, confirmed that the state of the yard is in good condition. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Monsieur le Président, une supplémentaire, s'il vous plaît. Deux supplémentaires, pardon.
Pourquoi,
Monsieur...
who can decide? You decide 2, 3, 4, 5 supplementary
Oui,
questions?
ok, très bien. I'm just asking, Mr. Speaker, sir.
You should not ask me.
Ok. Alors, Monsieur le Président, je suis juste un peu choquée par rapport à la réponse de la ministre qui dit que la Cour est en très bon état et ce n'est pas les informations que j'ai. Par contre, je suis d'accord avec la ministre quand elle dit que c'est suite à ma question que le management est descendu le lendemain et en urgence, les travaux ont été entrepris. La ministre peut-elle indiquer à la Chambre pourquoi le poste de General Worker est resté vacant depuis 10 ans et trouve-t-elle acceptable que la NCC fasse appel à un attendant de manière sporadique, soit du shelter L'Oiseau du Paradis ou du Maibo Child Creativity Center pour assurer l'entretien de la cour?
Mr. Speaker, sir, in my original reply to the PQ, I have made it very clear on what basis, twice weekly it is, that there is a general worker and an attendant who assist in the general cleaning of the said child daycare center. Thank you.
Yes, please. You can't just, Monsieur le Président, start talking. I should give you the floor. Don't make an abuse of your right to put questions. Now, the next question to Abbas Mahmoud, Honorable Abbas Mahmoud.
B570.
Mr. Speaker, sir, since this parliamentary question and PQ B574 refer to the same subject matter, I shall, with your permission, reply to both of them together. Mr. Speaker, sir, I am informed that as at date, there are 1,592 registered cooperative societies, out of which 1,390 are active. 6 schemes are available to support these cooperative societies. As regards the incentives associated with these schemes, I presume that the Honourable Second Member for Port Louis Maritime and Port Louis East would wish to know what are the financial incentives under the different schemes which the cooperative societies can benefit therefrom. Mr. Speaker, sir, these schemes with their corresponding financial incentives, which I must point out are grants and are as follows. First, the Boost to Local Production Scheme. This scheme offers a grant of up to 300,000 rupees per cooperative society for the acquisition of new agricultural, agro-processing and value addition equipment and machinery, and or the purchase of livestock, excluding goat and sheep, to enhance local production. Second, the Livestock Farming Project Scheme, which provides cooperative societies engaged in goat sheep rearing with necessary support for the construction, upgrading or extension of sheds and the purchase of goats, sheep for breeding and fattening. Each cooperative society in this activity can benefit from a grant of 200,000 rupees. Third, the Zero Budget Natural Farming Scheme, which aims at promoting green and sustainable agriculture. It encourages cooperative societies to adopt new farming techniques and produce natural fertilizers at a reduced cost. Each cooperative society can be allocated 200,000 rupees as grant for the purchase of cows and the construction of cow sheds. Fourth, the waste recycling schemes. This scheme motivates cooperative societies to diversify their activities and adopt sustainable practices by participating in circular economy. A 50% grant up to a maximum of 500,000 rupees per cooperative society can be provided for the purchase of recycling equipment and transportation vehicles from local suppliers. Fifth, the Seedling Production Scheme, which supports cooperative societies in establishing or upgrading a seedling production unit for vegetables and fruits. Each cooperative society can avail itself of a grant for an amount of 200,000 rupees for the purpose. And the sixth, the Digitalization Scheme, which offers a 50% grant up to a maximum of 100,000 per cooperative society to facilitate the adoption of digital tools, application and technologies. Mr. Speaker, sir, for a cooperative society to be eligible to benefit from the grant schemes, which I have just enumerated, it would need to satisfy the following common criteria. First, it should be an active and operational society and not a dormant one. It should not be in arrears with regard to payment of annual fees. It should not be under liquidation, and it should submit a detailed project write-up, including the project's objectives, expected outcomes, budget, and implementation plan. Mr. Speaker, sir, as regards Part A of PQB 574, that is quantum disbursed for the financial year 2023-2024, I have been informed that letters of awards have already been issued to 146 beneficiaries for a total amount of 33.8 million rupees. Disbursement is effected as and when valid invoices are being submitted by the respective beneficiary cooperative societies to my ministry. Mr. Speaker, sir, insofar as the last part of PQB 574 is concerned, that is the processing time for the allocation of funds, I wish to inform the House that applications received are processed in a timely manner and is contingent upon their completeness and accuracy. The processing of an application involves the following step. A review of the application and project write-up with a view to ensuring that besides complying with the established eligibility criteria, it has submitted all the required documents and information. The evaluation of the project by a technical committee set up. The approval and issuance of a letter of award once the evaluation is complete. and the disbursement of funds upon submission of valid invoices and confirmation of project milestones.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Can the Honourable Minister provide a breakdown of the number of beneficiaries under each grant scheme and the corresponding amount approved for disbursement for the financial year 2023-2024?
As I told in my reply, 146 cooperative societies beneficiated for an amount of 33.8. For each of them, Boost to Local Production Scheme, a total amount approved was 20.5 million for 78 cooperatives. For Livestock Farming Project, 3.5 million was approved for 18 cooperative societies. For the Zero Budget Natural Farming Scheme, 1.5 million was approved for 8 cooperative societies. For Waste Recycling Scheme, 205,000 rupees for 1 cooperative society. And for Seedling Production Scheme, 7.8 million for 41 cooperative societies. As for the digitalization scheme, this is a new scheme announced in the budget speech, and the criteria allocation for grant of these schemes is being worked out.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Sir, can the Honourable Minister state if there is any training component associated with the grant schemes to ensure that cooperative societies are well prepared to implement their projects effectively?
Yes, at the Ministry of Cooperatives, at the Division of Cooperatives, there is a comprehensive training program associated with each grant scheme, and the societies have to undergo a training program at the National Cooperative Society, which is the training arm of my ministry.
Next question.
B571. Mr. Speaker, sir, Government of Mauritius is actively following at least 2 cases at the level of the International Court of Justice concerning the cause of Palestinian people. First case is the case of the advisory opinion, and the second case is the case concerning on the genocide treaty. Mr. Speaker, sir, on the first case of the advisory opinion, it is to be recalled that on 22nd of February of this year, Mauritius participated in the oral hearings at the International Court of Justice on the request for an advisory opinion pursuant to the United Nations General Assembly Resolution 77/247 pertaining to the question of Palestine. On the second case, namely under the genocide treaty, it is to be recalled that on 29 December 2023, South Africa filed an application instituting proceedings against Israel concerning alleged violations by Israel of its obligations under the Convention on the Prevention and Punishment of the Crime of Genocide, commonly referred to as the Genocide Convention, in relation to Palestinians in the Gaza Strip. In its application, South Africa also requested the court to indicate provisional measures in order to protect against further severe and irreparable harm to the rights of the Palestinian people under the Genocide Convention, and to ensure Israel's compliance with its obligations under the Genocide Convention, not to engage in genocide and to prevent and to punish genocide. In that case, Mr. Speaker, sir, public hearings on South Africa's request for provisional measures were held on 11 and 12 January 2024. The ICJ delivered 2 orders on provisional measures, Mr. Speaker, sir. The first one on 26 January 2024, and the second one on 24th May 2024. Mr. Speaker, sir, in line with its principled stance for the upholding of international law, Government of Mauritius supports all initiatives with the aim of upholding the respect for international law, including on the question of Palestine. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Yes, thank you. Okay, since the Honourable Minister has mentioned about support, can I ask him whether government will support and sign a petition that was coordinated by Mrs. Rajni Lala of Mouvement Libération Femmes, dated 12th of June 2024 and submitted to the Honourable Prime Minister through his office, seeking support across the political spectrum to support the South African ICJ case, just like leaders of other political parties in Mauritius have, Mauritius Labour Party, MMM, PMSD, l'Union Maurice, and Lalit, and even Nouveau Démocrate.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I will need a specific question to that, because I have not seen that petition. I understand from the question that it was addressed to the Honourable Prime Minister. I can surely look into that. The House and the population at large will appreciate the stand taken by Mauritius as a country which has been consistent over the years. It has not evolved with this government or that government. The state of Mauritius has consistently supported the Palestinian people in all forums. If I have to name all the resolutions and in different forums, whether in Geneva or New York, I will have to take hours of the House. But there has been consistency. In fact, let me recall also that formal diplomatic relations were established between Mauritius and the state of Palestine ever since 1988, Mr. Speaker. And we have been consistently supporting the Palestinian cause.
Questions sufficiently canvassed. Honorable Bodan, next question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. B/572.
Mr. Speaker, sir, ensuring availability of quality and nutritious food and access thereto have always been a priority of this government. In this respect, we have been and are still making every possible effort to at least sustain the local production in sectors where we are already self-sufficient and to increase production in other sectors to meet our requirements. Mr. Speaker, sir, currently some 40 different types of vegetables, root crops, and spices are cultivated by both small planters and corporate growers across the island, so much so that with a production of over 150,000 tons per year, we are today self-sufficient in fresh food crops. Indeed, Mr. Speaker, sir, since 2019 onwards, our local production has increased from 96,900 tons to reach approximately 154,000 tons in 2023, representing an increase of 58.8%. This has been possible, amongst others, due to an increase in the area under cultivation from around 7,400 hectares to 9,000 hectares over the period 2019 to 2023. Increased production under sheltered farming, such as hydroponics and net houses, which in general produce more and better yields and have a higher productivity under the same area, and also numerous facilities, support and assistance given to planters through a panoply of schemes being operated by my ministry. For the period January to April 2024, Mr. Speaker, sir, I'm informed that only 31,199 tons of fresh food crops have been produced. This is mainly due to the extreme weather conditions that have prevailed since the beginning of this year. Mr. Speaker, sir, Mauritius, like many small island developing states, is dependent on the importation of food. In fact, we import almost 75% of our food requirements. Although most of our fresh vegetables needs are locally produced, items such as rice, wheat flour, and cereals, which constitute our staple food, cannot be cultivated locally due to our limited size and because these specific crops are not adapted to the local climate and thus have to be imported. Some vegetables are also imported for niche markets and after calamities, such as cyclones, when our local production is affected. According to figures from the Mauritius Revenue Authority, the quantity of imported vegetables, excluding potato, onion, and garlic, decreased from around 24,204 tons in 2019, with a cost, insurance, and freight value of approximately 1.1 billion rupees to around 22,987 tons in 2023, with a CIF value of approximately 1.8 million rupees. It is to be noted that the increase in CIF value is largely due to an increase in freight cost. I'm informed that from January to the 3rd of July of this year, around 14,779 tons of vegetables have been imported for a CIF value of approximately 1.2 million rupees. In fact, a larger quantity of vegetables such as carrots, cabbages, sweet peppers, beans, and beetroots, amongst others, had to be imported following the passage of Cyclone Belal and the adverse weather conditions I mentioned earlier. I should also mention, Mr. Speaker, sir, that to boost our local production, a range of measures, schemes, and support are being extended to farmers. However, our scope for action is severely constrained by the vagaries of climatic conditions and its related consequences. For instance, water scarcity, droughts, soaring temperatures, precipitations, floods, cyclones, and increasing incidence of pests, all of which affect our local production. This is the reason why my ministry is encouraging planters to adopt climate-resilient practices. Mr. Speaker, sir, with regard to strategic crops, which consist essentially of potato and onion, and the local production of which represents a significant component of our agricultural industry, I'm informed that the local production of potato increased by 11.4% from 14,822 tons in 2019 to 16,518 tons in 2022. A slight decrease to 13,719 tons was recorded for the year 2023 in view of unfavorable climatic conditions, which brought about an increase in the incidence of pests and diseases and bacterial wilt, for which there is no remedy so far. As for onions, the local production increased from 3,219 tons to 5,402 tons from 2019 to 2023, representing an increase of 67.8%. Furthermore, potatoes and onions being seasonal crops, we are compelled to import these off-season to supply our local market. In 2019, we imported 6,960 tons of potatoes, while 8,004 tons were imported in 2023 for an amount of 233.9 million rupees. And for the period January to June this year, around 12,669 tons of potatoes were imported, as local production had been destroyed again following the passage of Cyclone Belal and adverse weather conditions. For onions, Mr. Speaker, sir, imports decreased by 20.7% from 14,727 tons in 2019 to 11,676 tons in 2023, costing us 312.8 million rupees. Concerning the local production of fresh fruits, Mr. Speaker, sir, such as bananas, pineapples, melon, pawpaw, watermelon, strawberry, lychee, longan, mango, and avocado, same was 20,791 tons for the year 2019, and the production increased by 10.6% to reach 22,992 tons in 2023. Since most of our fruits are seasonal and are not available all year round, we have to import fruits as well. In 2019, we imported 27,632 tons of fresh fruits. This decreased to 26,945 tons in 2023. The importation figure for the period January to 3rd July 2024 stood at 15,391 tons for a CIF value of 1.1 million rupees. Mr. Speaker, sir, it is not a secret to anyone that the livestock sector faces many challenges, such as a decline in traditional backyard production, which operates singly on a low-input, low-output system of production, the lack of breeders due to an aging population of breeders, decline of interest in this field, scarcity of land for grazing and pasture, and the environmental threats that livestock breeding pose to our groundwater. Nonetheless, Mr. Speaker, sir, we are since some years now self-sufficient in poultry. In fact, the production of poultry increased from 51,000 tons in 2019 to 59,200 tons in 2023. As regards to beef, goat, mutton, and pork meat, the local production has remained quasi-constant over the past 5 years, with a production of 2,667 tons in 2023. On the other hand, our milk production has increased by around 11.5% from 2.5 million liters in 2019 to 2.8 million liters in 2023. As regards local honey production, Mr. Speaker, sir, which also forms part of the livestock sector, an increase of 32% has been recorded from 25 tons in 2019 to 33 tons in 2023. The importation figures in the livestock sector has also been on the decreasing trend. Around 17,115 tons of items such as frozen meat, frozen poultry products, chilled, processed, and pre-cooked meat, canned beef, mutton, and poultry products, and natural honey, amongst others, were imported in 2020. This figure decreased to 16,454 tons in 2023. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Minister, for his extensive reply. May I ask the Honourable Minister, he said that the crop acreage has increased. So I wanted to know whether it has increased among the small planters or whether it has increased among the big producers.
Well, for me, it's both the small planters and also the corporate growers as well. As you're already aware that some have moved out of sugarcane and went into other crops. So we've seen that trend both among the corporate growers and also among the small farmers as well.
Please.
One more. Yeah. Can the Minister consider the possibility of having price support to boost production in certain specific areas, in certain specific crops?
I mean, we are already subsidizing a number of crops. Those are what we call strategic crops. I mean, if we look at potatoes and onions, the prices are, in a way, controlled, if I may say so. And you will recall that during the post-Belal time, we had to intervene through the Ministry of Finance to provide that a number of crops, other than potatoes and onions, like carrots, beans, cabbages, and even chilies, were being imported and were being put on the market at the subsidized price. So the government do intervene as and when the need is felt.
Next question.
B573.
Mr. Speaker, sir, antimicrobial resistance, AMR, occurs when bacteria, viruses, fungi, and parasites mutate over time and no longer respond to conventional medications documented for the therapeutic use. At the G20 meeting held in 2022-2023, it was unanimously agreed that antibiotic resistance is among the top 10 global public health threats and represents an urgent health challenge for the next decade. The committee, inter alia, recommended that to better address the antimicrobial resistance threat, robust surveillance and monitoring are required globally. In addition, scaling up collaborative, coordinated, One Health AMR surveillance, risk assessment, and interventions have to be reinforced by all member countries. In this context, a One Health Steering Committee on AMR and zoonosis was set up in 2023 to oversee the implementation of action plans related to AMR and to ensure that the prevalence of AMR decreases in the country. Thereafter, a new action plan, national action plan on AMR, has been developed in collaboration with the World Health Organization, and same was approved by my ministry in 2024. The action plan focuses on the One Health approach, which comprises multiple strategies that the country will employ to combat AMR. As such, it ensures the continuity of successful evidence-based treatment and prevention of infectious diseases with effective, safe, and rational use of medicine. Mr. Speaker, sir, firstly, it has been observed antibiotics are misused without unnecessarily prescriptions from doctors who prescribe them to treat flu, bronchitis, and other illnesses not caused by bacteria, or without properly testing and diagnosing the patients first. Secondly, self-medication by patients who take leftover antibiotics from other people is very well known in the country, while some patients do not complete their course of antibiotics as prescribed by their doctor. Thirdly, some pharmacists dispense antibiotics to the public without a doctor's prescription as established in the Pharmacy Act, while some doctors prescribe underdosed antibiotics or antibiotics for an exceedingly long duration. And fourthly, prophylactic use, that is, utilization as a preventive measure in the agricultural or veterinary sectors can lead to antimicrobial resistance. Mr. Speaker, sir, in order to better evaluate progress, national indicators on AMR were created in 2023. Outbreaks of AMR occurring in all regional hospitals are notified every month, and investigations are carried out by infection prevention control teams. Furthermore, isolation rooms are under construction in several hospitals, while the one at SSR Hospital is already operational. In addition, isolation bays were also added to the NICU of SSRN Hospital in 2023, so as to isolate infants infected with multi-drug resistant organisms. Mr. Speaker, sir, my ministry submits data on AMR annually to WHO's Global Antimicrobial Resistance and Use Surveillance System, GLOS, while antibiograms created using this data are being uploaded on the Mobianet app for use by healthcare workers. Mr. Speaker, sir, antimicrobial stewardship teams comprising of specialists in internal medicines, registered medical officers, IPC, nursing officer, and pharmacists have been set up this year for each health region with a view to reducing the misuse of antibiotics. In the same breath, the national guideline on antibiotics was endorsed by the ministry in January 2024 with a view to helping to guide healthcare workers to optimally use antibiotics.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. From his reply, the Minister mentioned that there is a misuse of antibiotics. May we thus know what is being done at the level of his ministry to prompt medical practitioners to prescribe antibiotics optimally? Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, sir. As already stated, antimicrobial stewardship teams have been set up in this year in each region. This will help to reduce the misuse of antibiotics. National guideline on antibiotics was endorsed by Ministry again this year. This again will help to guide healthcare workers to optimally use antibiotics. CMEs on AMR were conducted in last year, 2023. New presentations on AMR being developed this year, and antimicrobial stewardship teams are expected to carry out new CMEs in each region, as well as a diploma course, IPC and AMR was organized by MIH and Bordeaux, which ended last month. That is last month in June 2024.
Next question, MP Béranger, absent. MP David.
B576.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I'm informed that Kensington in Pointe-aux-Sable falls under the CWA's water supply zone, Port Louis. The regions of Grande Rivière Northwest and Port Louis West are supplied with potable water from three sources, namely Pai Water Treatment Plant, which receives raw water from municipal dike, Bagatelle Water Treatment Plant, which is fed with water from Bagatelle Dam, and Pierrefonds Tunnel. The Pointe-aux-Sable region, including Kensington, is primarily supplied with potable water sourced from the new Bosquet Reservoir. This reservoir receives water from the Pierrefonds Tunnel and the La Forge borehole. Currently, the water supply to approximately 4,100 subscribers in Pointe-aux-Sable is on a 24-hour basis, except the Kensington area, where some 100 CWA subscribers experience intermittent water supply during peak hours, resulting in low water pressure since it is located on the highest spot. In response to this challenge, the CWA has planned improvement works. These include pipe laying works to boost pressure and flow to the Kensington area from the La Forge borehole. Additionally, there will be an upgrade of the La Forge borehole pump, thereby increasing daily production for Pointe-aux-Sable region from 2,100 meter cube per day to 4,000 meter cube per day. I am informed that these enhancements are expected to be completed by the end of July 2024. Once these works are implemented, it is expected that residents in the Kensington area will have a significant improvement in water supply and pressure. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. J'ai bien entendu donc le calendrier des travaux qui prendront fin juillet, donc à la fin de ce mois-ci. En attendant que ces améliorations soient faites et effectives sur le réseau de distribution d'eau à Kensington, puis-je demander au ministre s'il pourrait envisager auprès de la CWA une fourniture plus régulière d'eau à travers les camions-citernes auprès de ces 150-160 familles qui sont réellement en souffrance quotidiennement.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, sir, I shall convey the message of the request of the honourable member to the CWA.
Next question.
7.
Mr. Speaker, sir, in the aftermath of COVID-19 pandemic in 2020 and its impact on workplaces, the National Training and Reskilling Scheme was introduced as one of the components of the Economic Recovery Program. The main purpose of the scheme is to assist those who have lost their jobs due to COVID-19 pandemic by training and reskilling them so that they can rejoin the workforce, and also to ensure that people are work ready by improving their employability skills once the economy recovers from the impact of the pandemic. The NTRS targets unemployed individuals between 16 and 59 years, training costs and stipend payable to trainees under the scheme are borne by the government through the Ministry of Finance, Economic Planning and Development. Mr. Speaker, sir, I am informed that the HRDC is implementing the NTRS since January 2021 in collaboration with various stakeholders. The courses are dispensed through training institutions registered with the MQA or the Higher Education Commission. In principle, the HRDC receives applications for training courses from industry associations, government-funded institutions with training capabilities, and Rodrigue Regional Assembly. Courses under the NTRS have to be approved by either the MQA or HEC. Industries associations choose their own registered training institutions based on their skills, needs, and capabilities of registered training institutions to mount NTRS courses. The MITD also partners with the HRDC to implement courses under the NTRS. Mr. Speaker, sir, I am informed by the HRDC that since the start of the scheme in 2021 up to 30th of June 2024, 16 registered training institutions have been providing training under the scheme. During the same period, a total amount of 78,662,045 rupees was paid to these 16 institutions during 3 financial years as follows: 2021-2022, 18,452,365 rupees; 2022-2023, 30,317,778 rupees; 2023 and to 2024, 29,891,000